Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Max Flinders. Make sure you go to MotoAmerica YouTube channel and subscribe, comment, like. If you see me, definitely put a thumbs up.
Welcome back to the Komatsu MotoAmerica Superbikes at the Ridge. MotoAmerica Twins Cup, stop number 4, race number 1. That's because they're not only going to race today, they're going to race tomorrow as well here in Shelton, Washington. It's a hot one. Almost 100 degrees. I think the track temp's about 120. It is toasty. Those Komatsus are roasting up there on the top of that hill. And they did a lot of work at this facility, a brand new tarmac, new resurface. I'm Robbie Floyd with Roger Hayne. You've been around this track. You've seen what it's like. You like what they've done with this place, didn't you?
I like it a lot. I was here last year before they had the new pavement, and even from when I first came into the school last year, I stayed after, told them a couple changes that they needed to make. The track was willing to do that, and they're going to make changes every year to make the track better, make it safer and more fun.
Looking at a slight breeze on this hot day as we take a look into the paddock. Speaking of Road America, we talked about some of the riders earlier on in the day. Let's look back at what happened a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't there personally, but when I went back and watched it online, it was a great race, especially for Caleb DeCarroll in front of the 51.
Caleb really had the first couple laps dialed in and was really strong.
See Jackson Blackman, the 18 in the mix. Teague Hobbs, the 79. I think Jackson's finally getting that Yamaha working like he wants, isn't he?
And you can also see Chris Parrish there in the picture. He's trying to get things going. See Teague Hobbs there, crash headed into the carousel. There's a couple bumps there. Looks like he just lost the front. But Caleb DeCarroll, he pretty much controlled that race from start to finish.
He was just trying to get that mojo going again. After Virginia International Raceway, they had a test. That was the first time he'd been on that bike away from the actual MotoAmerica racetrack, and they were put some time in. He felt going into Virginia, or when they were at Virginia, they were kind of going the wrong direction. And you know what it's like. I mean, riding a new bike and stuff and a new crew and everything. As we take a look at the standings coming in, DeCarroll on top now, 10 over Chris Parrish. But it's hard when a new bike, and you also don't have that same gel, because he was doing it on his own last year on the Yamaha. Now he's on the Aprilia with a totally different Robham Engineering team.
And you don't just get that the first couple laps to, you know, it was at a race at Atlanta. You don't have a test where you can kind of work your way into it. So looks like they're starting to figure it out now, though, and Caleb's been really strong.
You see Toby Kopsuk dropping back to 11th after missing that race at Road America. Can we pay points down to 15 places, and better put a towel over your head, better get that cool collar going. Get ready, because it's going to be a hot one. And you know, the third member of our team, Michael Hill, he's going to be down there trackside all day, and he better put something on that melon, or that British boy is going to be burnt. Let's go down to Michael.
Yeah, Robbie, well, the melon at the moment is being a little bit protected. I will learn by the end of the season that if I'm giving away hats to fans, which is what it's all about, that I'd have a spare one with me. So the head all right at the moment with the cap on. But I got to tell you guys, I've only been outside doing the podium in Supersport for the last 5-10 minutes. It is hot. I've been to many countries around the world, and as Roger has as well, but this is insanely hot. With camera girl down here, we're just talking before we came on camera, track temperature more than 130 degrees right now. I don't know if you can actually see over my shoulder, just with the angle that we're not going to get onto the grid because it's a fast start for this race, but the heat haze is now starting to shimmer. It is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. I think there's going to be a few riders a little bit concerned with regards to tyre choice and of course physical fitness in this Twins Cup race. Twins Cup has been introduced a couple of years ago. They have never raced in temperatures like this, never tested in temperatures like this. So for a lot of these riders, we're going into unknown territory. And also, just spare a thought, because after this race, we still have 2 more races, including Honor's Superbike. Tyre choice, Roger, Robbie in the booth, that could be critical as well. It's not just about the guys that are about to go and do battle in the Twins Cup. It's about the rest of the weekend as well. And just to throw a little bit more into the furnace down here, it is going to be at least 5 to 10 degrees hotter tomorrow. So if we thought today was Scorchio, tomorrow is going to be off the scale.
You're exactly right. There's 2 smart individuals right there, Roger. They have to line up before they pull off to the track. They're right underneath that crossover tunnel. That way they can have some, I don't want to call out any names, but our camera crew did solid. And I'm not going to say any names again, Roger, because every time I say something about somebody, they're gone the next week. there's the smart guys hanging out underneath that shade. Everybody behind them. Again, when they're waving that red flag, they cannot pull out on the track. You're seeing Toby Combs looking at the 27. Jackson Blackman. There's long hair, don't care. Chris Parrish. Anthony Mazziato, the name that may not be familiar with in Twins Cup for sure, but you might remember from years gone by, a Junior Cup fast kid, a road super sport as well. Let's take a look at that starting grid, brought to you by Cardo Systems. They don't have in-ear communications here, but that doesn't mean that you can't talk to your buddy going down the road. Anthony Mazziato, again, he's fresh into the series. It's kind of a test ride for him, kind of a shaking that bike down for Max Toth, who we expect to see at Laguna Seca in the Twins Cup.
And now they're going to be wanting to probably try to put another bike under him. He's been really strong. And also, if there's another bike that opens, people are going to probably want to put Anthony Mazziato in there.
Good to have that 717 of Jody Berry back as well. He high-sided big time. And evidently Teague Hobbs, who you see starting in the middle of row 3, his mom and dad were there watching it. They're the only ones that kind of was able to relay what happened, and he did a big melon thumper. But evidently it was just a small concussion, if there was such a thing, and he's back with us today. Liam McDonough trying to get up there in the top 5, in the top 3, and maybe even a win. Goals keep changing week after week after week. Got a full field of Twins Cup riders, over 20, I believe, signing up. Right at 20 as we move on to Sam Weiss. He was having some difficulties yesterday. He was over there in the Robin Engineering crew, and he just trying to look for the right answers. I think having some shifting issues and just doesn't know what's going on. You heard Michael talk about some of the heat signature coming off of the track out there. And just imagine, we could talk about the heat, and if you're watching it, you know, this from home in your air-conditioned house, you don't really know what it feels like out there. That black racetrack, and I've covered, you know, different racing in the past and wearing a fire suit or whatever. Those leathers are hot. But also think about the tires, all those Dunlop tires on that tarmac. Think of what it's like for your shoes when the crews are out there walking. It will literally melt your shoes at 130 degrees temperature. You can feel the heat rising off of the racetrack.
Even just walking around outside, I mean, look at the temperatures there above. I mean, I couldn't believe how hot it was when I walked out, and these riders are definitely going to feel it. Not only is it hard for the riders, it's hard for all the crews and everybody.
Look at that gypsy right there. I mean, taking pictures, and he's having to wear the towel. Our
the camera guys, I mean, being out in the heat too.
Yeah, and you said this is one of the hardest parts, as Jackson Blackman said, I'm good, and Pop's been working on that bike. That's a fast bike, by the way. Dad getting that bike ready, but these guys, when they stop like this, you say sometimes that's the harder part because you don't have that air circulating.
Exactly. When you're riding around, you kind of feel that air, and when you pull out of the pits and you kind of already getting hot, when you come around and you set like this right here, this is when that you start really, temperature starts rising from the asphalt, from it being hot. The engine's warm and just everything all adding together. This is definitely when it's the hottest, and whenever they get going, get that air moving again.
See that orange tape on the side? It makes it a little easier for them to grab that tear off, a clean visor, if you will, or you don't even have to run a tear off like that gentleman right there. I don't think I've ever not worn at least one tear off, because that one little piece of rubber or whatever that gets on your screen just be like that fly that keeps bugging you. All right, they've done their recon lap. This will be the final one, and they'll line up and get ready to go. This will be a 12-lap race for these guys. You look back at the previous winners, Caleb DeCarroll started off with the season victory, followed by Teague Hobbs with a couple, Jody Berry, second VIR, and then Caleb DeCarroll with bookends taking that victory at MotoAmerica. Let's take a look at our track map. 2.5 miles in length. They're just under it by a skosh, but plenty of turns to get the passing done. Yep,
you'll notice the chicane right there off the start, leading into turn 1, and then you got a lot of elevation uphill into 2, 3, 4, 5, and the run to turn 6, a long sweeping left-hander, then it drops downhill turn 7, 8, 9, and then you're getting another run. Now, one of my favorite corners on the track, 9, 10 into
11.
Turn 11, down into 12, and then turn 13, probably the slowest corner on all the tracks that we go to. You'll see a lot of guys making some passes there down the hill in the 14, 15 onto the front straightaway.
Michael's calling that the cliff, and yeah, you're right. I love 10 to 11 because you can kind of run it in there and do a block pass. And you only see so much block passing in road racing. You see, kind of stuffing it under and taking it, but literally you can have a block pass here. We saw it last year. We thought we might have seen it a little bit earlier in a couple of our races, but that 10-11 transition, but also places to make up time. We've seen other riders coming onto that front straightaway carrying a lot more speed in that final turn can make a big difference at this track.
When you're behind somebody in a lot of parts of this track, like the chicane, it's kind of easier when somebody brakes when you're behind them, just to brake a little deeper, and so you're going to make the corner and turn 11s like that. Turn 8, some corners are just a little bit easier to follow, and even coming up out of 9 and 10, because you can't see over
the ridge, right?
10 there. When you're behind somebody, you can just kind of follow them
and hope they know what they're doing. We've seen other places like that, like road at Atlanta, seemed like up there around 2, 3. Some blind turns that had to be set up properly. Jackson Blackman on the 18, I talked to him yesterday, and he said, I said, man, your bike looked fast in MotoAmerica, and I had to watch it online. And he said, I'm trying to figure out where this bike's fast. It's not that it's fast. We've seen that before, right? Caleb DeCarroll showed how fast it was last year, but it's not fast everywhere. He's got to find the meat of that power and how to use it at each and every track.
And that's kind of been the strength of the Yamaha is the top speed. So I think for him, trying to figure out what setup works at all the tracks.
Good to have Toby Komsuk back this week on the Robham Engineering. You do see a lot of Aprilias. Only the Yamaha of Jackson Blackman break up the top 6 as far as manufacturer. Everybody on Aprilias except for Blackman. Chris Parrish, the first Suzuki, in 7th. The lights going to be on when they turn off. It's time to light them up. Come on, MotoAmerica Superbikes in the Ridge. Twins car bar gone. Anthony Mazziato on that inside, and he gave up position to Jackson Blackman early on. Look at Caleb DeCarroll moving into 2nd. Look at that run for 4th.
Looks like Anthony Mazziato held on to 3rd, but definitely a great start for Jackson Blackman and Caleb DeCarroll.
That looked very timid out of Mazziato, didn't it?
And that's what these guys need to do with the pace that he has. They need to not let him get the whole shot and pull away. They need to try to get up there in the lead and control the pace and keep him behind them as long as possible.
Do you think that was a case of them wanting to be extra aggressive, or do you think that was a case of Mazziato trying to make it safe through that first turn?
I think it's a little bit of both, but definitely those guys not wanting to let him get away.
Once Jackson Blackman come back from that broken arm, I think wrist.
And also Anthony Mazziato's lost another spot, and now another one.
I've asked you before, but I would say once Jackson came back into MotoAmerica after that injury this year, he has been fast. Been up there near the top several seconds. I think he's back-to-back second place finishes. He's looking for that win.
He is. He's been super consistent since he's come back. I mean, on podium almost every race, if not every race. So he's definitely one of the guys who's showing a lot of that consistency. Some other guys are starting to make some mistakes, and he's starting to claw his way back into that championship hunt.
A little bit of a leg dangle as we go over into that really sharp left-hand turn, dropping down, and that's that point I was talking about. You could see a block pass today. You just have to dive underneath and hold that position and try and shoot out. One rider down. That's Ryan Snooks. The 270 was in 14th on that first lap. A points paying position. He's going to pick it up and try and work his way back into the top 15. Jackson, man, he's getting a little aggressive. He almost did a karate move coming into that left-hander.
Anthony Mazziato got in the chicane a little bit too hot.
He's got the speed, though. Look at that, moves into 3rd.
And you have to think, he hasn't raced in a while, and especially against these guys at this level. So it might take him a couple laps to kind of calm the nerves a little bit, get the butterflies out, and find his rhythm.
Well, that's why I was wondering if maybe the Veloci team said, hey, don't do anything crazy, anything stupid. I think back to other classes and other races, we always heard how fast Max talked, who he's trying to build that bike for. Later on, as we have a pass for the lead, Caleb DeCarroll puts his Aprilia up to the top. Look, driving around the outside. Now we're seeing Jody Berry on the white Aprilia. His head's in the right place now. DeCarroll trying to go back-to-back. You see Mazziato going way too hard on the inside. I think that's going to enable Hayden Schultz to pick up another spot. Barry, a lot of Aprilias in this front. And even talking with Mazziato, he said, man, I'd love to have a week on this bike. It's fast, it's fun, but just hadn't had any time on it.
And Jody Berry now has worked his way up into 3rd. He's the one making some of those some of those passes. And this is a thing we've seen Caleb do a lot of times. He's got really good racecraft.
Let's take a look back at that pass for the lead. Caleb DeCarroll.
He just passed him on entry. Just got a better run into turn 6. Jackson entered it a little wide, and Caleb was there to take it.
Ooh, there's some of that block pass move Mazziato just put on Hayden Schultz. Again, you just have to put your bike in front of his and still get it shut down. Teague Hobbs there, Chris Parrish in there as well, Toby Kopsuk, Sam McDonald in the 37, or Liam McDonald, excuse me, Sam's Cooper's dad. Mazziato in fourth that last time around. He's trying to put pressure on, but again, the guy to look for, the 717 of Jody Berry. Let's go down to Michael Hill. You're hearing some strategy being talked about down there.
Yeah, just a thought that I want to throw into the mix. Caleb DeCarroll, of course, a multiple race winner, and of course it could be a strategy that maybe he gets to the front of the race like he has early, which is a bit unusual, like we've seen this year. Maybe he wants to get to the front and just slow the pace down, because if he slows the pace down, that will obviously conserve the tires. I don't know what you think, Roger, but these guys have never raced in these kind of conditions. It could be just a thought. Let's get to the front, let's slow the group down, let's keep the group together, but preserve the tires towards the end.
It's a thought, Raj.
If that's your strategy, then, you know, if you're having some tire wear and you want to kind of slow the first couple laps down, then you definitely want to be in the lead. But also, somebody like Anthony Mazziato, who's had a lot of pace this week, you don't want to see him at the front.
Oh, no. Chris Parrish. He had an off-track excursion earlier, I think, in the morning qualifier. But this is the first time we've seen him go down this year in a race, and that's unfortunate for him at his first time to the Ridge. Chris Parrish second in championship points, so that's gonna hurt a ton. He was only 10 points behind Caleb DeCarroll. Something that Teague Hobbs and Jackson Blackman didn't mind seeing, though. I don't know about Caleb, though. It sure seemed like he was one to do what he did at MotoAmerica, and that's get out in front and try and check out, and they didn't let him.
It looks like he's making a few mistakes here now. You see run wide in that left-hander there, and a couple other corners, like turn 11, entering pretty wide and letting these guys kind of close up. Now you see Anthony Mazziato kind of starting to get a little closer to the front, looking a little more aggressive.
Anthony Mazziato, Veloci Racing, in third currently, the 516. He was a former Junior Cup racer. He raced some Super Sport and asked people, well, why isn't he in MotoAmerica? And he just didn't have the funding. But he's one of that group of the Northeast guys, that New York, New Jersey crew that is fast, and he just needs a little bit of help. And we hope we see him back at Laguna Seca in the Twins, but that bike is getting prepared, and that's what he's out here getting ready for Max Toth, who we see in the juniors to race the Twins Cup.
And I'd say with the performance he's having this weekend, definitely opened a lot of eyes for him, for guys who are looking at trying to look for a rider.
The Veloci team said they would love to have him on an Aprilia at there as well. They just don't know if they have enough time to get the job done. Well, another Aprilia is out in front. That's Caleb DeCarroll, Brabham Engineering. I know Michael Kopoulos works with him and works on his bike, and he actually builds a lot of the other bikes like Chris Parrish's engines. But these Aprilias really got homologated late in the season. It was a good drive by the Yamaha Jackson Blackman,
and
so they didn't have any time.
This is where Caleb's been running a little bit wide.
Mazziato pushing Jackson wide. We'll see if he does the same thing to Caleb DeCarroll the next time around. Mazziato just stuck his nose in there, and Caleb let him by. Still impressed. Hayden Schultz has not had the last couple of races go the way that he's wanted to, and he's still keeping his nose in there in fourth. Hayden Schultz in fourth. Look at that. That's deep. Deep. But he made it work. Anthony Mazziato taking the lead with 9 laps to go. You had a feeling he was going to do that run and gun kind of shooting out.
And he looks like he's got his head down now. You can already tell he's already pulled a couple gap, and now he's going to try to make the break.
Jackson Blackman seemed like he had some speed here and there. That bike, he's getting it dialed in more and more like he likes it. There's another Yamaha right on the horizon. I know Greg White got to run that last week. Look at this. I mean, that is literally just a block pass, but he wasn't even close.
And you can see how wide he barely kept it on the track. Look how he was all the way to the white line. But good pass. He's ready to make a move. That lap, he was almost a second faster than Caleb DeCarroll, so he knew he needed to get going.
There's Sam Weiss. Unfortunately for him, 16th is not to be had. That's what he was in that last time around. Jody Berry is in the pits. That is unfortunate. Oh, man, you have to feel for the Righteous Racing team. And I don't know if it's a mechanical that shut him down or what. I mean, you would have to think it would be. We didn't see him crash.
I seen him a couple laps looking around, and I kind of was wondering if maybe he had an issue. You know, you can kind of tell when a guy has a problem.
Yeah.
He starts looking back.
Hear something, feel something. Yeah, and he's a guy that was in the points championship, and after not getting points at MotoAmerica, he dropped back behind Trevor Standish, who's not running. You have Chris Parrish that is not, you know, in the top 15 right now after going down. So it's a great opportunity for Berry to make up some points. Let's go back down to Mike with more on Jody Berry.
Yeah, I'm down here now with the Righteous Racing team. A bit of disappointment for Jody Berry. They've got the air vent down here. A huge big fan just blowing cool air into the front of the radiator. I don't want to speculate too much. Jody Berry is literally hot-footed it out of the pits. He doesn't want to talk to anybody, rightly so. But I'm just wondering that the comments that we were talking about earlier, has the Aprilia overheated? Nobody wants to talk. Nobody will tell us what's going on, but you can clearly see it on the camera. They are trying to cool the Aprilia down, and I don't know if you can see on the floor down here. You can see the water coming down as well. I think this is, well, it's clearly a technical problem. I think the Aprilia is overheated.
Yeah, it's burping fluid right now, so it is definitely overheating. And I don't really know what you can do more than that. I mean, you can only open up so much air to the bike.
And that is smart for him. You know, when a bike starts overheating, you can see on your dash the temperature. Some bikes, a temperature light will come in. And for him, that's really smart, because when the bike runs hot, there's a good chance you could lose the motor and do a lot of damage. So that was good for him to pull in.
And there's not that many motors out there as well. These Aprilias are brand new, newly homologated, but you're still seeing 2, 3 Aprilias in the top 5 of Anthony Mazziato, Caleb DeCarroll, and Hayden Schultz. So if it happens to one, would it happen to the others? You know, there's some electronic things that they can do to make these things, generally hotter is faster, but you get to that certain point, Roger, and that fast bike, and we've seen Jody Berry be fast. Maybe they've got some modifications here or there that the heat just really can't work out like it should.
I think everybody's got some different settings, so you know, maybe other guys are doing different things. I'm sure his crew will probably go ask a few of the other Aprilia teams and see, hey, what are you guys doing?
Take a look back as Mazziato, the fastest time of all, 1:48.77 that last time around. I mean, he's in the 48s. Nobody else. We have a 49.0 of Caleb DeCarroll, but he's 0.3 of a second faster than DeCarroll was, his best time.
But Caleb and Jackson's actually really stepped up this race, and, you know, keeping him honest. Last lap was only about a half a second. We'll see what he stretches it out to this lap, but they're definitely not letting him just get away.
Yeah, that was a personal best by Caleb DeCarroll that last time around, a 48.92. Caleb's wily. I mean, he's a smart racer. He's been doing it for a while. He was a super sport rider. He races Supercross. He races motocross. He does a lot of riding, a lot of training. Jackson Blackman, a little younger, you know, doesn't quite have the experience of Caleb DeCarroll, but he is fast. He's not afraid to throw his nose in there. We saw him last year, you know, when we went to New Jersey, just put himself right up to the front, right off the bat.
And even this year, missing the first race, as soon as he comes back, he's right at the front. But also, like you were talking about, Caleb's got really good, you know, he's got more experience than these other guys, but he also has really good racecraft. We've seen a couple other races where he was maybe not the quickest, but when the race comes, Caleb's usually always there.
You almost want to liken Anthony Mazziato and Caleb DeCarroll, because both guys kind of worked their way through this system and kind of hit that spot where they couldn't go any further for a little while, and now both getting the opportunity to come back in Twins Cup and show what they've got. Long hair don't care right there as well. Believes a stylist, a day job. He's a professional road racer this weekend here at the Komatsu MotoAmerica Superbikes at the Ridge. 6 laps to go. We're on lap 7 of 12. This first of 2 races this weekend for the Twins. Caleb DeCarroll trying to make it 2 in a row. He's the, well, there's been 2 guys that have won 2 this year, Caleb DeCarroll and Teague Hobbs. Teague Hobbs back in 5th. This is the best battle we have on the track right now, that race for 2nd. Mazziato, the red bike. Caleb DeCarroll, the black, red, white, colorful bell helmet. Jackson Blackman, the pink and blue Yamaha number 18. Jackson Blackman Racing, but really it's his dad that's been doing some of these modification parts. Now we've got Teague Hobbs moving up there and battling out with Hayden Schultz. Hayden Schultz consistently up there in the podium positions last year, getting the ride with Robham Engineering this year, and showing that he's just as fast. Same thing with Teague Hobbs. You talk about having to have that financing. What we saw him make the podium in New Jersey last year, and then like what happened to Teague is that he didn't have the dollars to compete. Now he has the opportunity coming out to the West Coast for the first time, and he's showing that he can get up there near the top 3.
I mean, he's got a race winning. Actually would have another one if he didn't have that jump start at Road Atlanta. So he's
yeah.
And even this race, qualify 8th, come out here and get the top 5. That's
very, very impressive for a first time. Yeah, 2 wins on the year, he and DeCarroll. Jody Berry, who's sitting back in the paddock, the other winner. They did not have 2 races at Road America like many of the other classes. Innovative Motorsports, number 79, Teague Hobbs. Robham Engineering, Aprilia of Hayden Schultz. Hayden seemed to have found something in that final qualifier, made up a lot of ground, about a second from what he was doing prior. I talked to him yesterday, and he was just kind of down on himself. He said, I don't know, it's just me. I'm not feeling it. I'm not whatever. And I'm like, I haven't really heard that out of him before. And if you're not feeling like you're going fast and you're putting that pressure on yourself at Road America, etc., you know, it's tough. Back up to his teammate, Caleb DeCarroll. There's the race for second place, second and third, right? As we see him on screen, there's the leader heading into turn 1, Anthony Mazziato.
the last lap, Mazziato, he stretched it out almost a half second. So he's for a couple laps there, they were keeping him honest. He wasn't really starting to get away. This part of the race with 4 laps to go is going to be interesting to see with tires. Some guys are going to run different ones. Who's got the best, tire at the end, especially being this hot.
How much pressure did they put on those tires? And no matter what, no matter if you've got the perfect tire, that track, that tarmac's going to feel greasy. What's that like? Because the riders have been talking about it. Said it's not the tire's fault. It's just it's hot and that track feels greasy.
When it's greasy, it just almost feels like the tires are kind of squirming under you. They're just kind of always a little bit moving. You're a little bit slower on the throttle. You don't have the confidence as much in the front. But we've seen even a couple of the other races today, these guys are still, even in these temperatures, are going to race track records.
You see the Dunlop race pace, the best lap back there on lap 5 of 48.77. But I mean, he's staying within a tenth and a half or so from that. I mean, that's the consistency that it's going to take to win this race in Twins Cup with about 3 1/4 laps to go. He's got some separation though. Looks very smooth under braking. I'm not hearing, we've heard a lot of chatter and stuff and a lot of skidding of the tires. Not hearing that right.
Oh, down.
And down out in front. He looked so smooth until everything went wrong for Anthony Mazziato. He's got to get it back. He's still in 3rd place right now. He had a 5-second advantage over Teague Hobbs. Now Caleb DeCarroll knows he's racing for the win, not just a battle with Jackson Blackman. Oh, no. And this is... You need to turn that thumb down. He was late getting that news. He went from 0.13 up to 13 down.
That's just such a bummer for Anthony Mazziato. Like you said, it didn't really look like he was pushing that hard. It looks like he was just controlling the race. That goes right back to what we were talking about with the tires being greasy.
And it happened after that sharp point, and he looked like he negotiated the turn after 11.
But like I said, when the tires are greasy like this,
look, he said just tucked. She just went away. But the way he showed it, that was the front, right?
Yeah, the front washed out.
Yeah.
Because you drop down that hill, right? So
all the weight's on the front.
All the weight goes on the front.
Oh, man. That's one of those things, like, it came out of nowhere, right? I mean, all's good until it's not.
This is the part of the track where Jackson Blackman makes up a lot of ground. Caleb's going to go wide here into 11. Watch Jackson try to sneak up the inside. I think he's setting that pass up for the last couple laps of the race.
Looks like a black flag is coming out for the 37 of Liam McDonald. Not sure what happened there, but they're wanting him to come off the track. Could be something he did aggressively. It could be something with the bike that they want to pull him in. And look at how hard he's diving on the inside. Ooh, man, we almost got a little taste of Dunlop there for Jackson Blackman. But he did close in big time. I mean, you might not want to do that for Caleb and Carroll too many times.
And I think these guys both seen Anthony Mazziato crash, you know, not really pushing that hard. You know, kind of gave them a warning that, hey, maybe the tires will get greasy. Let's not take too many chances.
Another rider off the track, and he's getting the heck out of Dodge because he knows that's probably if you go down, somebody else could too. When you're Jackson Blackman, you just went back to back to back second place finishes. Patience is a virtue. Do you think we're going to see much patience out of Jackson Blackman?
I still just think that turn 11, he's been setting him up every lap. You know he's going to want to win. He's tired of getting second, and he looks really comfortable this race.
Jackson Blackman hounding Caleb DeCarroll. DeCarroll looking for his third win on the year. Blackman closing in, and you look at these guys. He's not looking down at what's in front of him. He's looking out at where he's going. He goes underneath Caleb DeCarroll there, trying to cut off a little bit of distance if he can keep that speed up. And I could be wrong, but Jackson Blackman has never won a Twins Cup race. The best was it's the second round last year. He finished second, and this year he's got 3 of them. He's tired of seconds. Caleb keeps swinging wide. I think he's maybe guarding those tires a little bit too, isn't he?
The last lap, I think Caleb will probably try to block that turn 11. If not, Jackson, I think, has enough speed to make the move, but he's going to need to stay a little bit closer. That first split, Caleb DeCarroll pulls a little bit out on him. He makes it up out of.
Ooh, but I bump. Caleb's going to try and go underneath here. You can see it coming. I think Caleb was having I think the tires feel like they're kind of away for Caleb, and you see how he's trying to do all that straight line braking.
But we've seen Jackson last lap caught him a lot on the brakes there.
Yeah. I think he just doesn't want to put the pressure to it, and he knows his championship's looking even better. And also now he can gauge Jackson. Maybe he didn't want to lead going at 11. Maybe he wanted to be in second. Last lap, here we go. Let's find out. Can Jackson Blackman get his first victory in Twins Cup? He'd won a junior cup race once before, and he got taken away from him because of an improper starting position. That won't happen today. He started in the right spot. Can he finish in that one spot? Blackman, oh man, Caleb Carroll is all over him. He is all over him. Expect a block pass. It's going to happen, Raj.
This is the part of the track where I tell you that Caleb's a lot quicker. You're going to see they're going to go through this left, drop down to the right, and that next right-hander is one of those corners where he can try to make the block pass from the inside.
Look at all that momentum he's carrying around that outside.
It's not close enough.
Not putting the pressure on the tires, but you see right there, yeah, he's playing follow the leader. This is the last lap of the Twins Cup. Blackman going for his first race victory all the way to that outside, using the entire track. Third spot's Teague Hobbs, and he's not even in the picture. That little bobble might have cost him, and again, charging hard. Blackman going drastically inside. He's going to be guarding. Caleb's going to get a good drive out of the turn.
It's not close enough.
Do you guard, or you just try and fly and run the fastest line you can?
That's the thing, when you guard the inside, it's real easy to run wide.
Big leg dangle for Jackson Blackman. Caleb trying to shut it down. I'm telling you, he's having a hard time under braking, isn't he?
And also, Jackson just looks like he's really strong in this part of the track.
And there's where Jody Berry went down when he was out in front. Thought he had the race won, about a 1.3 second advantage. You can get a good round on that last turn, and you can tell, or excuse me, Mazziato going down, you can tell DeCarroll wanted it, pushed a little too hard. Drag race down the front straight, and a victory for Jackson Blackman. The 18 finally bringing it home for his Yamaha team. Dad here in attendance, and you can see what it means to him. It was a strong run by Caleb DeCarroll. Power wheelie galore. And patience is a virtue for Jackson Blackman. I thought with him being young, maybe a little less experience, he might do something drastic, but that one block pass really cost him. I'm curious to see that last pass for the lead just a lap ago. Jackson Blackman going to the inside here.
It's right into turn 13. Did a really good job getting it slowed down right here toward the apex where he didn't blow the corner.
And at this point, Caleb DeCarroll says, I can go underneath, but it sure did look like he was really wanting to straight line break. He didn't want to tuck the front.
Look at Jackson didn't run very wide, didn't give him the opportunity, did a really good job getting it stopped.
And that's the beauty of the block pass, isn't it? I just got to get by. As long as I keep you to that outside, you're not going to get by me. And yeah, that was unfortunate for Anthony Mazziato. I incorrectly said somebody else was out in front. I know Perry was another rider that was up near the top and had to pull out when his bike was having heating issues and burping fluid. Teague Hobbs a podium. That's a strong run for the first timer here at the Ridge. Toby Komsuk and Hayden Schultz. You've got all of the Robham team in that top 5. I don't know if Carl's cracking a Guinness tonight, but he will extend his points lead. So if you can't take the 25 for first place, 20 points is the next best thing. Caleb DeCarroll did his job. He kept it on 2 wheels, and he put some separation between himself and Parrish, who was out. Hobbs finished, back there in 3rd. Lost a few to Blackman, but he had a 17-point advantage, but you can't give him 5 point, here and there. And
Jackson missing the first round. Now he's going to be already almost within 10 points of the championship. He's did a great job getting his, fighting his way back into this thing after spotting these guys 2 races. Yeah, and remember, though, Caleb DeCarroll did throw one away when something broke on his bike and fluid went all over. He took out, the top 5 of our field for the most part. Trevor Standish only one able to make it through that, so Caleb DeCarroll didn't have his throwaway race. Let's take a look at some of the highlights here in race 1 for Twins Cup. See Jody Berry on the inside, got a pretty good launch, but just kind of broke a little early, let the guys get by him. Anthony Mazziato worked his way up to the front as fast as he possibly could, but it was Jackson Blackman, Caleb DeCarroll, then Mazziato. Jody Berry, the white bike. Righteous Racing was looking good until she gave up the ghost. There's Mazziato now into 3rd, working out of the draft, diving underneath DeCarroll there. And that would be his demise. Just about 1 turn later, these guys will be coming by, and right here, Mazziato's down, spinning like a top. Pass for the lead. Jackson Blackman goes to the inside, holds that tight line, doesn't let Caleb DeCarroll do it. Trying to draft down that front straightaway, and it just ain't long enough, brother. Jackson Blackman takes his first victory in a power wheelie across the front straight just to celebrate. Taking a look at the results here, brought to you by Geico. Jackson Blackman, 0.2 of a second. You don't care if it was 0.002 of a second. A win's a win's a win. That was a good ride by him, just kind of played his cards right, waited till the end, and made his move. Knowles, Fawcett, Taylor, look at those names that we don't typically see up there around that top 5. Alex Taylor, Michael Hennow, and Rodney Vest in that top 10. Congratulations to you guys. Some strong runs going on there. I know we were sticking with our front runners because we had a race up there at the front, but some of the best finishes for those guys we've seen this year. So fucking proud of you, boy. What did they say in that movie Twins? Today's your day, bro. Today's your day, Jackson Blackman. Let's go! I've heard that a time or 2 on YouTube. Well, there's no doubt he's going to be happy. It's his first win here at MotoAmerica. Let's send it down to Michael Hill, who's caught up with Jackson Blackman. Yeah, I'm down here with Jackson Blackman. He's basking down here in the glory. The biggest smile in Parc Ferme, the first Yamaha win in Twins Cup this year. Jackson, congratulations. What a phenomenal ride, and welcome back to the top step, buddy.
This has been the best race of my life. I knew I could do it. I just needed that confidence. Yamaha gave me a bike that was more than capable of being up here, and I put my head down. I was getting really tired the last few laps, and I was like, the win is right there. I can't stop. And I just went in there, made the move, and I knew I had a little pace. I saw he was kind of falling off a little bit. It definitely would have been a heck of a race with Anthony in there. I hate he went down. I got a big thank you to Yamaha, Northeast Cycles, HJC, 1X, Track Day winner, GP Tech, Rob Bush Motorsports, Finish on Machine, Roaring Toys, everybody that's behind me. This has been the best race ever. And a big thank you to Yamaha again for building an awesome bike. I know these guys are going to talk about the power it had out there.
Thank you, Jackson. Tell you what, he didn't take a breath, did he? He didn't take a breath.
Looking at that pass for the win, and I heard you mention Bob Fisher. Bob Fisher was helping Caleb DeCarroll in his Yamaha last year as well. I think it's Sam McDonald's actually been building those motors. But there's Caleb DeCarroll in second place. He still gains valuable points for this championship, Michael.
Yeah, he did indeed. And still smiling down here, and rightly so. Another solid result for the Robum Engineering rider, and still very much in contention for the championship. One hell of a fight that Jackson gave you there. You're still smiling. You get another bite of the cherry tomorrow, but talk us through that one from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it was a good, solid, clean race. I tried to get out and just put my head down. Mazziato got around me, and he was carrying a really good pace. And I honestly couldn't hang with him, and I was like a little bit on edge if I should try and go for him or not. And then like right after that, he tucked the front. So I hope he's okay. It's pretty greasy out here today because it's so hot in Washington. But overall, my Robum Engineering crew has been working super hard to get me comfortable. I got to thank my mechanic, Mike. He's been working his butt off at all these races. Eric from Velocity Calibrations, he helps me get this Robum Engineering RS660 dialed in for all these tracks. I got to give a huge thank you to all my personal sponsors, 1833 CJ Knows, Bitcoin Bandit, Von Lewis Music Group, Bob Cycle Supply, and everybody who supports the team. Huge thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for keeping me safe. It was pretty slick out there, so I'm just happy to get through this one with solid points and move on to tomorrow with hopefully a little bit better setup.
Cheers, Kelly. We'll see you tomorrow.
You know, there's some of those races where you can smile for finishing second. A lot of times you have that bad taste in your mouth, but he did what he had to do.
I think he's just disappointed, lead almost to the last lap and then lose it.
But Teague Hobbs finishes on the podium. Again, didn't know what we'd get out of Teague, but we saw more of what we've been seeing. Another podium finish for him. Good job.
Yeah, another good job, and a third manufacturer on the podium. Teague once again on the podium, and the top Suzuki. Of course, you want to be on the top step, but it's great, valuable points for the championship, and another podium. So great job today.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious we're not satisfied, but we're happy. Top step's the goal, but where we're coming from this weekend, just been struggling. So to come back out here, get on the podium, get some points, get closer to Caleb, it feels good. And these guys rode a great race. Made a few mistakes that we can work on for tomorrow, and I'm glad we have a second race coming up. But really got to thank my guys, Innovative Motorsports, Mike's Imports, everyone who helps me out, Bison Leathers, First Track, Penguin Road Racing School, Woodcraft. Everyone comes together and makes it work, and I'm happy.
Good job, you should be. We'll see you tomorrow, Teague.
Should be happy. Although he lost 4 points, he said he wanted to be on that top step. But, I mean, first time here doing what he's doing. And it kind of been off all weekend, and now he was on the podium.
You qualify 8th, you still end up getting on the podium. That's a pretty good recovery.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Pretty solid. And again, losing 4 points to Caleb DeCarroll in the championship, but gaining and now moving up into second into that championship. And they're getting some congratulations from the Robum Engineering crew, Caleb DeCarroll's team. Taking a look at the points, the championship points, brought to you by VP Racing. 12-point advantage now. Jackson Blackman moves up to second. Is that right? Yes, that's right. He was actually only 3 points behind Teague Hobbs. So Blackman into second now. Teague Hobbs to third. Chris Parrish after that DNF drops back to fourth, and Schultz up into fifth now. Trevor Standish out with that broken wrist. Currently in sixth, Jody Berry not getting any points. Liam McDonald, black flag. I did not see where he dropped. It looks like he's out of the points as well. So it is a really good race for Jackson Blackman. I kind of looked past it because I knew Hobbs was going to jump Parrish, but Blackman jumped Hobbs and into second. It's a really good start to his weekend.
No, like I said, right at the end of the race, to be already only 12 points out after spotting these guys 2 races is really good. He rode a great race today. He was patient. He knew where he was stronger at, and made a lot of good moves.
In his 4th podium of the year, that's as many as anybody's had in this class. Wow. We'll hear what they have to say possibly in the media center. You can always follow us on MotoAmerica Live. We got some Honda Superbikes coming up after the break. Twins Cup race. Man, can it get any better than that?